Yeah, welcome back to AWS DevOps Logistic YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss about Kubernetes config maps. What is the config map and all? Let me share my screen first. Hey guys. So today we are going to discuss about Kubernetes config maps. Okay. So what is config map and all? So we'll see that. Uh, guys, are you able to see my screen? Can you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Is it audible?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, so config maps in Kubernetes is a way to store non-sensitive configuration data. Okay, that is your application might need such a configuration files, environment variables. I told a lot of times related this environment variables and command line arguments. It's a key value store. Okay, so where data is not encrypted and it's meant to keep configuration separate from the code. Okay, making it easier manage and update. So for these kind of things we will use uh, config maps. Okay, so this is almost similar to secrets. Okay, so where exactly we have to use the config maps? Okay, so decouple the configuration from the container images. Okay, you can modify the configuration without needing to rebuild the container environment variables also. Okay, for example, to pass the configuration as environment variable into your containers. Okay, and configuration files to store entire files or specific values with the application can reference. Okay, yeah, so we can wait, see this key will store like this. Okay, config maps related we can keep like this key and value format. Where it will store, it will store in central central in the sense etcd. Okay, so what is exactly difference between config maps and secrets? Config maps, okay, it store non-sensitive data like secrets. For example, passwords we will store in secrets, right? But these keys and volumes values and also urls, I'll show you somewhere. URLs will be there. Okay, in environment files. Okay, environment related URLs. MongoDB, for example, database related URLs. Okay, all those kind of URLs we will keep. We will store in config maps. But in secrets is different. Secrets we will store very sensitive passwords, tokens. So all these kind of. You understood, right? So I think I will share you one thing. So I have one file. Yeah. So I'll show you one thing. Yashwant, I am just posting one image uh, in our fresh. Maybe I will show you. No problem. No need. Just give me 1 second. See this? Can you see? Is it visible? Hello. I'm
Mm.
talking to you.
Yeah, yes, sir.
So this is config map example. API version, kind, metadata, everything fine. But in the config map, we are not keeping any specifications. Instead of using specifications, we are using data. Okay, database URL we are mentioning. So these kind of things, URL related. For example, MongoDB is there. MongoDB related URLs, okay, and secrets, sorry, some other okay, whatever backend and front end related some URLs will be there, na. Okay, those kind of URLs we will store in the in config maps. But in secrets, what we will mention in the sense, in secrets, so sensitive information like passwords, tokens, okay, so all these kind of we will store in secrets. That is major difference. Understood? Okay. So, and the config map stores non-sensitive data, and secret stores sensitive information like passwords, API keys, tokens, like this. Okay, secrets are kind of what it will be in the form of, already we have seen last time in the certificates, that will be base 64, okay, encoded format, and it mean to protect your sensitive data. Okay. Security. In security, config map data is stored in the plain text format, not encrypted. Okay, but its secret comes to secret, the data intended to be more secure, like store in a way like very confidentiality. Okay. So for example, if you compare with the config maps where we have to use in the sense, so config map for the data that doesn't need a protection, such as application settings like configuration files, environment files, etc., etc. But in secrets, it is very very sensitive data like credentials or security keys. So it should not be public, which means, um, in secrets we should not able to open to the everyone, but config map whatever the URLs you can able to open. So backend and front end related connectivity URLs, API keys, okay, these are all related to whatever these details, okay, configuration related information we will keep in config maps. Okay. So configuration config maps, I think it when your application need configuration like data like URLs, paths, features, okay, so it's are not that much very secure and very sensitive information. Those we can keep in plain text format. We can keep in that config maps. Okay. So I hope you can understand this. You understood or not? Again, I'll repeat this. So exactly what is config map? In Kubernetes, config map is a API object used to store the configuration data that can be consumed by pods or other resources in the cluster. Okay, a config map is an object, okay, API object, which is used to store confidential data in key value pairs. Pods can consume config maps as environment variables, command line arguments, or as configuration files in a volume. A config map allows you to decouple the environment specific configuration from your container images so that your application are easily portable. Okay. So it provides a way to decouple configuration settings from the containerized applications, making it easier to change update configuration data without modifying any application and container images. Config maps, how it will store in the sense, it will store in the form of key and value format. Okay, it will provide the ability to mount configuration files or data. Okay, as this can include environment variables. Okay, so command line arguments, configuration files, any other type of configuration data required by your application. Okay, so you can write a pod, okay, that refers to a config map and configure the container in the pod based on the data in the config map. Okay, so if you see here, API version v1, kind config map, metadata, name, something name, whatever name, data. So here no specifications. See this? No specifications. You mentioning the data and data related information, player initial live something, and this is UI properties name. Okay, so this should be from somewhere else, these modules. Okay, game properties, this game properties will be there somewhere in other manifesto files. Okay, okay, how it will call in the sense, it will use this properties, game properties, user interface properties. So this will be somewhere else. Okay, so there are four different ways that you can use config maps to configure container inside a pod. Inside container command line, command argues and environment variables for a container, add file in read only volume application to read, write code to run inside pod that uses Kubernetes API to read config map. These ways inside a container command and args. Okay, so environment variables for a container, environment variables also you can use, and add a file in read only volume for application to read. Okay, these are different ways to you can use. Okay, and write a code to run inside the pod that uses the Kubernetes API to read config map. Okay, see this? So last one, this is actually this one, you can how you can write the write to run the run inside. So like this. So API version 1, kind, metadata, name, specifications for pod, all these things. Okay, so you can also write like this, and name, demo, image, command, environment variables, these are all environment variables. Okay, so name something. Okay, value from, see these guys, config map key reference, this is calling from somewhere else, config map key reference. Okay, value it is from this config map reference. Name, game demo, key is player initial lives. In secrets also we will follow this process as usual. In secrets also is same. So config map key reference there, secret map secret key reference, like that. Okay, so value from, value taking from somewhere, so which might be a same manifest file, or else you might have written somewhere other different manifest file, but it is calling from somewhere. Okay, so like UI properties mentioned, and it is also other value, the other value config map key reference, it is taking from some other, again UI properties file. 2, okay, two keys, they are using two keys. And volume mounts, name is configure mount path read only, this is for read only, true. Okay, and also mentioned volumes. For volumes, if you can see, name config map. Okay, name, this is okay, and items key path key value, and path path what is the path game properties related, and the other key is, it is for interface properties. This is game properties, this is interface properties. So like this, so we can write like this. Okay, these are two properties we have, one is game demo game properties, the other one is interface related. Okay, using config maps, config maps can be mounted as data volumes. Config maps can also be used by other part of the system without being directly exposed to pod. For example, config maps can hold data that other parts of the system should use for the configuration, all configuration related only. The most common way to use config maps is to configure settings for the container running in a pod in the same namespace. You can also use config maps separately. Okay, you understood? I'm just simply reading whatever Kubernetes has given. This is official document. Okay, using config maps as file from a pod, create a config map or use an existing one. Okay, multiple Pods can reference the same config map. Modify your pod definition to add volume under. Okay, like this spec volume, name as volume, anything. So while we are doing, we can understand all these things. Create config map, modify map, and add. So after that, modify your image. Okay, so an example of pod for mounts, how you are mounting. API version v1, kind metadata spec till here. Pod volumes we have mentioned, this is volume related. Okay, FO4 something, FOO volume, that volume name we have mentioned. And config map we are mentioning, config map, name of the config map. Okay, so we are mounting existed one. Mounted config map are updated automatically. Okay, so like this, so we have to create one config map and we have to apply config map. So then after, so next the following pod consumes the content config map as environment variable. So we are mentioning here environment variables. See here, kind pod metadata environment config map, this is. Okay, config map as environment variables. Guys, first if you want to understand this environment for variables, what you have to understand, what is environment variables. Okay, these environment variables and config maps related urls, these are all comes under configuration related urls. Okay, system configuration related or something. This configuration might be, it will varies different different perspectives. Okay, so like for example, one project is there, that project maybe you have a, you are using database is mongo. Whenever you are configuring this mongodb, at that time that will release one kind of that will generate one kind of url, where you want to keep that url in environment files. Okay, so and backend, for example, s3 bucket is there, s3 bucket will generate for every image one url where you want to keep that image. So urls, that urls you need to keep in that environment variables. That is general manual process, but in this Kubernetes we are keeping in the config maps everything, environment variables, urls, all key related, all non-sensitive information which is related to configuration related, all these things we are keeping in this config maps. Okay, if it is manual project, manual without using this all tools and Kubernetes and all, generally they will keep all the urls in the environment files, .env files. You understood? So we will store sensitive and very useful tokens, everything in the .env files. That okay. So we have done that for one manual project is there without using tools. That we used to store entire keys and secrets and also this URLs, everything. So if you have, if once if you enter in the projects only, then you can understand all these things. If I insist more and more also, you can't understand this until unless you keep in mind. Okay, so this is a way. So the other part is and metadata spec, all these things they have mentioned, and value config map reference something so guys, you can understand all these things while you are doing application, a sample application in using Kubernetes. Okay, there I'll show you. Okay, okay, this is about config maps. So so actually in secrets, actually we have types of secrets are there: OPEC, Docker registry, TLS, and service account. Maybe shall I take other class for secrets? Guys, you understood this config maps or not?
Yes, sir.
So it's a kind of, we are storing non-sensitive information in the form of plain text format. Okay, but in secrets, for how we have to do is, so we will use a format, the same format like this. Okay, but I've shown you something reference, a config map reference, where it is. This is the format only. Okay, this format is same for config maps and secrets, but here name. Okay, That's fine, name not there, but you will keep here db password, db name. You can keep it as a db name. DB name is something you will give as your as per your requirement. But the key, for example, root key. Here one kind of secret key we will mention that will be encoded by base 64. You understood? That is not direct. Okay, whatever the password you have given, that password will be converted in the form of base 64 encoded format. That encoded format we will mention here. Okay, so once if you mention here, it will take reference. Okay, by using this config map reference, that other manifest file will be there. That manifest will, it will call and it will check itself internally. You understood?
Yes, sir.
So that is how we will mention. We will not mention for the secrets. So here you will mention secret key reference, but we are in secret key we are not mentioning directly password here. We cannot. Okay, so that will be that will we will mention the secret here in the form of base 64 format. I will show you how the format is. 64 encoded format. See this? See this, guys? Like this. But this is not actual key. The actual key could not be displayed to anyone. Okay, it will generate. If you mention one secret that will convert into base 64 encoded, and that we have to mention in the that manifest file. So see here. So it will generate like this. You understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So like this. For example, you have given hello world like this. So this hello world base 64 will be converted like this. So that you have to mention in the keys. Okay. Mm, user passwords, root passwords like that. Understood? This is all about secret. Okay. So I hope you understood. Before taking tomorrow's class, I will again repeat the secret and config map again. So after that, we will start doing application by using objects. Okay, by using whatever we have learned till now in the Kubernetes, all the object using or not all objects, whatever required objects, we will take all the objects, required objects. We will take reference of that objects. We will mention in the objects like config map, secrets, and pod. Okay. So guys, again I'm telling, whatever objects you have learned will not use entire objects in the project. Okay, wherever it is required, only that requirement, according to the requirement only they will use the objects. Okay, you understood? For example, in Bangalore or Hyderabad, you have lot of transport available. For example, bike available, Ola, Rapido is available, Ola is available, Uber available. Okay, RTC buses are available, and also metro available, flight available. Are you using all sources at a time? Depends upon your requirement,
No.
depends upon your use. You are going to choose your way. Is it correct? For example, if you want to go 1 kilometer distance, you will book Rapido. Okay, so if you want to go um, Delhi, for example, from the Bangalore, so you'll choose train or flight according to your requirement. That also, right? The same way, whatever objects are available in the Kubernetes, that will not be used in entire project. Okay, based on the requirement, you have to bring it up your objects. Okay, according to that requirement decides that if you want to use that object or not. Okay, whatever modules we have, whatever objects we have. Okay, so we'll use that according to our requirement, but we are learning it for our knowledge purpose. Whenever requirement gets, okay, when it comes, then you can go and refer again, do some POC analysis, and you have to implement that in your project. Understood?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so let's again to maybe this Kubernetes config maps, also secrets, we will discuss tomorrow before going to do application, sample application. So we will just recollect all those things, we will uh, discuss again. After that we will start application, doing application using config map secrets and also other objects like ports and all services and deployments, etc. Okay, but pods, frequently we used to use pods, okay, in Kubernetes mainly. Deployments, replica sets, frequently will use this. Okay, and secrets, config maps, volumes. You understood? So these are all very 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 important. Frequently these main work will be on these kind of objects. Understood? And remaining extra whatever it is there, according to your requirement only it will add into your project. That's all. Okay, that's it guys. That's it about config maps. We'll see tomorrow. One application we are going to launch one application. So however how for example, mm, applications in companies, how they are using Kubernetes in companies, how they are utilizing Kubernetes service in their project. We are going to see that. Okay, by using Kubernetes, how they are benefiting, where they are getting good advantages, how they are making themselves easy by using Kubernetes. So till now we have discussed all about one by one small objects, but we have not yet implemented all these objects in live. But tomorrow we are going to implement all those in live. So we are going to access the application using Kubernetes objects and modules. Okay, let's see. Okay,
Yes, sir.
we'll launch on applications, then only once if you launch the application, live application, then only you can understand that. Okay, so we are using these modules, we are using this objects. Okay, this object is useful for this. Okay, fine. So the other one is, for example, volumes, where we are using volumes. Okay, where we are using this deployments and replica sets. Okay, so all kind of so for example, daemon set is there. Daemon set is not that much useful because you are using very small single application, so it doesn't useful. But if you have a lot of clusters, lot of nodes, you will use daemon set, right, Ishwant? Daemon set, by using daemon set, what we have to do?
We will replicate, sir. It replicates same pod in different.
Exactly, we will replicate same pod. If you create one pod using daemon set, it will be applicable in all the nodes. That will be useful, same like a replica set. Replica, by using replica set we will create, however we are creating a one for example, if I use three replica sets, it will create three pods, correct? So even it could not, if it
Yes,
is
sir.
duplicate or if it is deleted, automatically it will create same like. So not exactly the same, but the thing is that if you can able to use the daemon set, by using daemon set you can able to if you create one pod, that will be replicable in all the nodes. For example, you have 10 nodes for example, so you cannot, if you want to create one pod, one same pod in different 10 nodes, it will take a time. Okay, and also it's it's, we should have an automation should be, okay, to save our time and all. So for example, by using daemon set you can create the same pod in 10 nodes. If you want to do that in different clusters also, multiple clusters, multiple nodes, we can able to create pods using daemon set. That is how. So but daemon set is not for single application, single pod, right? Single node. So that's what I told. Whatever objects you have, okay, whatever file definition files you have, whatever manifest files you have, that is whatever we till now we have learned, all those things will be useful. So this is completely knowledge based. This is completely, you have learned everything, but whenever the requirement comes into the picture, then only you have to utilize it. The same example I have told. Okay, we're using the, so a lot of resources you have, but you should not implement all the resources in one project, right? For example, you have AWS, we have hundreds of services. Are you using 100 services in one project? Tell me.
No, sir. No,
every
sir.
every services has unique id, unique identification, correct? So whenever your requirement comes, you will pay and you will use. That is the purpose only. Same way in Kubernetes, lot of objects are there, lot of resources are there. So according to your project, if it is suitable, you are going to bring it up into the picture, otherwise no. That's what. Okay, that's all about Kubernetes, guys. Config maps. See, tomorrow we are going to discuss about uh, the secrets along with applications. Okay, okay. That's all. That's all about it. Any doubts, guys?
No, sir.
Okay, fine, guys. Thank you so much. If I have enough time today, I will connect with you. Else, we'll connect tomorrow. Okay. Until then, take care.
Sure,
Bye.
sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome. Welcome to AWS.